hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. This is DWTT, and this is the trip. And I've got my man Tony with me. How are you doing, Tony?
Doing so.
So. Well, that's better than no go.
Yeah, not
Uh,
much energy today. Fell asleep and missed the doctor's appointment.
oh. Well, there you
I,
go.
I I woke up exactly what time of the deal. It's like I'm there in 10 minutes. Can you see me? They're like, nope.
Oh boy.
Okay, I'll go back to sleeping.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Oops. StreamYard's got this new feature now. It will show the comments on the screen. So we'll see how that plays out. It might be fine if I don't know. Maybe I have to adjust this thing a little bit.
It's pretty tiny on there.
It looks tiny to us, but maybe it's bigger to others. We'll see. I might turn it off but we got Anders in the house. Welcome to the show, Anders. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, it's an off day, so I'm not sure if people will make it because there is. I think Dan has a show that's still going on. So, but and Spencer is got family obligations. So I had obligations yesterday. He's got them today. What you gonna do? So we will we will continue on though. So Tony, Arsenal finished second again, 3 in a row. Yay!
And 2 games away from finishing sixth and not being in anything.
Well, there is no two more games, so we are
Uh,
finishing second, regardless of whatever could have happened. So
I, I'm just I,
so we
I- I'm
we
just
finished
saying.
second. We finished second. And you want to go back in time, like you always do.
No, I'm just saying it hasn't been a very good season, and that Tyler Rice was talking about it. They were put all their energy into the Champions League, and they were totally wore out. That's why you have a squad. Now our hope is bringing in a 15-year-old next year to be with the first team.
Hey, well, if we play him, it's one thing, but he's talented enough, at least from what we can see, that he's definitely playing against players that are, at least talent-wise, are not at his level. I mean, there's watching. I was watching on Twitter. This one, Will Balsam, I think his name is. He follows the academy a lot, and he had a lot of videos out there showing Dalman just basically having his way with the all those players in the U17. I mean, being 15, he's outplaying the 17-year-olds, essentially 16-year-olds. So yeah, no, I talent wise, he looks good, but you never know how it's going to pan out, but you never know unless you try.
Yeah,
I mean, in where he may look the same as Dauman when if he would have come right in when he was in his 15, 16-year old, as a 15, 16-year old, I think he'll be 16 this season, so I think he's allowed to play.
yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
think any of them under like I think it's 23 or something can play without impacting your squad as long as they're an academy or homegrown player like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. Yep. So no, it wasn't even a count that I was worried about. It was more the age because that's the thing that was holding him back. I
Yeah,
mean, I mean, he does things he does things that Declan Rice will do. He'll run with the ball. He'll put a pass on a dime. He will take the shot. Pretty much all the things that we want, Erdegaard to do, but he doesn't do them because that's not what he does. Got Steven in the house. Welcome to the show, Steven. Thanks for joining us.
but he can still do those things if he's put in a position to be there.
I,
That Arteta's
I
seen
hear
it
you,
before. Makes it.
but I don't believe he has been in those positions and he doesn't do it. So for me, no. I hear what you're saying. Like at some point, okay, Arteta may ask him to do a lot more than just create. But when he's put in a position to where, guess what? You either shoot or you make a pass or you put the defense at a little you put him at a loss. He won't do that either. So I hear you, But I don't agree that Erdegaard is being held back by Ted. I believe he just you know, you have to take advantage of where you are on the pitch, right? And you've seen our defense.
When you're at right back,
You've seen our
right back in
defenders.
their
No,
attacker
no, no.
midfield.
You've seen our defenders when they get into the final third, what they do. You can't tell me that the player that's playing in front of them is told, no, 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 no. I don't want you to attack the goal. I don't want you to shoot.
I know it's happened 2 seasons in a row, and the season before we had the 4-2-3-1. It's I don't like that formation, but it does put Odegaard where he should be at the middle of the pitch. I'm almost at a point, but I know we had this conversation off there that putting Saka in the middle, whether it's as a 10 or a false 9 or whatever, he does everything that Arteta wants. He holds up the ball,
Mm-hmm.
and the club's already going at each other. And do we get Sesko, or do we give a better player?
Oh, you're just moving on. We're just talking about youngsters. Now you want to talk about strikers. Let's finish the youngsters talk before you move on. How in the world can you jump to strikers when we were still talking about our academy players that are getting time? I was hoping we get to talk about the game, but we'll talk about. Let's finish with the academy players first before we move on. Then, all right.
Yep.
Steven is like for me, and where he's like all players his age, with rare exception, is that he is still defensively naive. Yeah, I don't think he's played enough for me to consider him defensively naive.
I haven't seen that really. I don't think,
because when he first came in and all he would do is shoot, and everybody said, "Oh, he doesn't go back on defense," and then a game later, his first touch was defensively going back and retrieving the ball off the opponent. So I don't see him as naive yet. I haven't seen enough of him, but I do know that you have to, if he's going to play, then you need to play him, right? And given the instructions to maybe take the shot and stuff like that, you're going to be fine with that, right? On the attack, he's fine, but defensively, I haven't seen him in a game enough to say, I don't know, maybe you've seen that, Steven, but I haven't seen him in a game where I went, you know what? And where he is killing us defensively.
I haven't seen it because most of the games he's played, Timber was there. So Timber's the only one of the fullbacks that does what a fullback should and defend. The rest of them are going past.
You say that, but then the best fullback supposedly is Trent Alexander-Arnold, and we know his defense isn't that good. But no, I hear what you're saying. But the best fullback, according to some, is Trent Alexander-Arnold, and one of the things that he's skillful at, putting that ball on a dime off the cross, right? So,
I still think we should go to a back three. So, if you want your fullbacks to attack, put 3 defenders back there.
Yeah.
That way you don't have to have any midfielder worry about anything because they're 3 defensive guys that are always there.
Yeah. We've got BX in the house. Welcome to the show, BX. Thanks for joining us. I know you're over there with Dan. I don't know if you're still over there with Dan, but thanks for joining us here. I assume Dan may be going offline soon, but we'll see. Ethan shouldn't have to worry about defense. He's an attacker. That is partly true. Partly true. But if I recall, PSG, the team that beat us, their attackers were defending as well. So I don't think it's just a something that Arsenal has as a something in their toolbox. For example, I believe all teams do it. You just don't recognize it because when they attack really well. We don't attack, and we don't take advantage when we should, and then I think we pay for that later. So I feel like yes, there's some defensive responsibilities up top. I mean, we saw it on Saturday, right? As soon as Kai Havertz came on, the first thing he was doing that I recognized was him pressing up top. and he looked all right. And it's like that's what we're missing, in the way we've been playing. Like Erdegoy was used to be the one up there, but being that he's still injured, doesn't do that as enough. Yeah,
That's why Arteta wants Sesko, but if you have Kai, why do you need Sesko?
yeah, yeah, yep. Steven, I hear you. And you know what? If you recall, I don't remember this, but I do. We do know that Saka, played a lot as a fullback, right, and as a midfielder before he got his spot. I don't remember him getting skinned. That's the thing. But we're talking about Saka, so I feel like I'm fine with a 18-year-old getting skinned. His negative plays are few and far between compared to the positive plays that he's made. So for me, you're gonna have to take the good with the bad until he, gets a little bit mature in his game. So I think I'll take that I'll take that more than what we've had. I'd rather have him earn his, get his minutes in the midfield. But he's versatile, and we saw that with Saka. We've seen that with Inweri, right? He's supposed to be a more of a 10, right? And an attacking mid, whatever you want to call it. But we've seen him play out on the wing, and he's played well there. I mean, he's put in the similar crosses to what we've seen from Saka. So I think our academy players that are part of the team right now have shown they've earned a keep in terms of like getting minutes, I believe. Yeah,
I'm still disappointed when Harry hasn't got more minutes.
yeah.
And it's crazy because he's played like 20, 30, 24 games, and it's like he's barely got any minutes in those.
He's played 30 minutes. I was looking at this. Yeah, I was looking at that. Because everybody's like, yeah, but he's getting the minutes, and I'm like, what? No, no. But like he's played in 30 games. So actually, he's played in 36 games. He started 15, got about 1,300 minutes. So yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. Skelly's got about 900 more minutes than him in just under 2 matches played, but he's got double the starts. But I feel like, you know what? Maybe that's why like I said, he's 36 games he's played in. Um, he's got an 11 GA and all competitions. So maybe he's just about right. I feel like Arteta has used him in terrible situations a lot of times. I mean, what's the point of bringing him in after 80 minutes? I find that ridiculous. Give him a run if you're going to give him any kind of play.
And he was doing well when he had that run when Saka was out. That's the only reason he got as many starts as he has because Saka was out. We didn't use him for Odegaard when he was out. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know what? Yeah, I mean, BS says this in terms of attackers not have to worry about defense, but I feel like the one play that we see that a lot of is Salah, as far as not going back on defense, but his offense is solid. So you take that, you'll be fine to do that, right? It's like Steph Curry, if you know in NBA, his defense isn't as strong, but you don't care because he's going to score anywhere from 25 to 35 points a game. So you'll take that. You'll back him up. Yeah, BX, that's a good point. But this is Arteta, so when a player is slightly out of position, Arteta will know will Arteta will know and or bench him, which we have seen. I don't know about that. Will him know? I'm not sure what that means, but yeah, no, Arteta does. I mean, I say he just goes to some of his players. I mean, he just looks through his bench and goes, "No, I don't think I could use you." When it's like that's when you need him. If you need goals in a game, you bring in Wary in. Bringing in a fullback over in Wary to me is silly, very silly, and it's definitely dumb. In terms of what's the point? So especially in like a second leg of a game when you're trying to come back. Who cares if you lose by an extra goal or two? Who cares at that point? You're trying to score. You will leave yourself open, but if you don't score, it don't matter, does it? So,
I would like to see a breakdown of what position we first sub, and I would say it was by 70% of defensive player comes on. At least
with
that's
you.
what it feels like.
I feel yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right about that. Yeah, no, Arteta is risk averse, more defensive minded. When I'm like, why?
But that's what
You
gets me, Gary. You set up with this back four that you've spent probably 500 million on in the past 5-6 years,
mm,
but you still have your attackers play back
mhm.
on defense a little more than they should. You still see Odegaard at the back of the line and as a right back. It just you put the players in their best position. You don't go, oh, this is what I want to do, and you're gonna play this position, even though it's not your best position.
Well, it's
Hey,
not. It's not even that. Some to me, anyways. It's not even that. Sometimes it's more the case of, well, I don't need to take him out.
yeah,
He's not injured. He's not laboring. Blah blah blah. His in our eyes, the player's form may have dropped, and maybe that's why you maybe should do a like for like sub. But for me, like he never gives them the break, and you saw this. The man hasn't learned.
nope,
Saliba has left games late in the season. Now Gabriel has left games late in the season. At some point, you have to learn rotation is key, and it keeps your players fresh, so you can get to the end of the season and they can play it out. Right? He's
yeah,
not
and
doing that at all.
I also still wonder how much is it their training regime? Are they
Mm,
going too hard at it? And
mm.
training is part of it, as long as not giving them rest. But like Waneri, there's no reason he should not play last year in the cup games. If you're going to get eliminated in them in January, play the
It's
youth
not enough
so
games.
they
We
get
get eliminated
experience.
sometimes in the first game we play, right? I mean, I don't think we've made it into the second round, second set of games in an FA Cup in a bit. It seems like we always lose that first one sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
as
ridiculous.
Arsenal Misfit says, don't get me wrong. I think Skelly has been great, but had White been healthy, would MLS have got the chance? You're right about that, but I'll also tell you, we wouldn't have a Gabriel if Luis didn't get hurt. So for me, this is where I talk about talent ID, and I go, Arteta, do you know what you have? Just because Luis is a veteran doesn't mean Gabriel can't be better than him. And we saw that, right? Game one of the season, get Luis is out. What does Gabriel Margalez do? He scores on his first career game with Arsenal, and hasn't looked back since. So that should have been the light bulb going off. That guess what? Just because they're a veteran doesn't mean they're the better player. Just because they've been playing for 5 to 10 years doesn't mean they're better than a player that hasn't played in Arsenal first team shirt. You know what I mean? So I mean, there are young players out there that can do a job. So I kind of feel like, yeah, no, big's kind of. I guess I just, there's a lot I agree with you and a lot I don't sometimes. But this is one I think, yeah, that's one where Arteta needs to get better at that, especially young players that you know what they need them. If you're gonna have them on the bench, you give them the minutes. Give them the minutes. It's not. It's gonna be all. It's gonna be better for them, or else let them go on alone. And you know what happens if White is healthy? What happens? Skelly probably. Think about if Skelly actually decided, you know what? I haven't signed my professional contract yet or extension. I'm going to go elsewhere. What that would look so bad. Arteta's got lucky with the injuries. In Wary, would he have gotten the minutes? Probably not. And we're sitting here going, why is he leaving too? I mean, I've looked at Heaven. He's a youngster. He left without getting a chance, right? And he's naive as well, like a Skelly, but he's getting his minutes in a first team shirt, right? Same thing we're doing to Skelly, and we're not too upset about that, right? So Heaven
Yeah,
could same way, and that would have been a center back that we could have used, and maybe he turns out to be better than better than what we expect, but
and,
we never
and
get
any
a chance.
criticism of Skelly, it's kind of unwarranted because if you look at when Calafiori's in that same position, he's not half the player that Skelly is. And we went out and spent all that money on him when we didn't need to. If you played Skelly some last year, guess what? Then you know he's ready to play.
Yep. Yep. No, you're right about that. You are right about that. We're spending some money. We're not getting what we expected out of them. But Calafiori, what I find interesting, Calafiori, what is 21, 22? Still young, some will say.
Yeah.
And we're saying the same things about Skelly and Nweri, but this guy supposedly is supposed to come in and get even more minutes, so what is it? I feel like the academy is getting these kids set up right to come in. Skelly's been able to stay healthy for the whole season, and we'll see where he goes. If he move, it seems like he might move back into the midfield. It just means we'll have to get a left back with the players we have leaving. But
do we actually need a left back? Can't you just play Timber and keep Kivior?
Well, it all depends on I think it's all depending on who stays. You're thinking Kivior stays, right? Kivior is maybe thinking he wants to go because he was like he was being shopped around, right, in January and stuff like that. So I feel like this might be one of those things where Arteta may have burned a bridge to some degree.
I'm jealous of Kivior, just so everybody knows.
You're jealous of him? Why are you jealous of him?
I don't remember if I sent you guys a video or not, but his wife was all splashing around on the set with the water going down, and you would approve of his wife. He was doing the camera work.
All right, this is not where I thought we were going to go with that one, but all right, Tony. VX says, how many more red flags and wasted opportunities must we suffer under this manager?
Yeah, I think we've already hit a critical point because we're at this point where we keep repeating what he needs to improve on season after season. And after 3 or 4 seasons of saying that, it's just like he's not going to get better at it. It's like, this is what he has in his head. He's stubborn. That's what he's going to do. He doesn't trust the young players, so they're not going to get much to roll out.
Well, that's hopefully why Berta is there, is because they need to change the direction they're going, and it's not like we're going in a terrible direction, but we need to we keep veering off and need to get back on the route, the right route. Right, we keep veering off and then we're coming back. We need to continue going up as opposed to veering off a little bit. That's how I see this thing going. So maybe Berta will do that with either the players he brings in, or maybe he's the one that makes that decision whether to keep Arteta or not. You know what I mean? Because we need to we need to cross that line. All right.
Yeah.
We need to cross that line. We need to, as they say, put your arms up at the end of a season, or at the end of a run in a cup.
See, that's what's to be bad if like Arteta gets his way and picks somebody like Sesko, then Arteta gets fired, and you got a manager that doesn't want to use Sesko.
I don't think there's anything wrong with Sesko. There's nothing wrong with Sesko in terms of a talent. It's just not mature yet. It's the same thing we say about Skelly. Same thing we're going to say about Nweri and Dalman. The talent's just not matured enough yet. So you might wait, but you have the Kai Havertz, and hopefully Jesus does move on so we can get out of the financial restraints we have with him in the squad. But Sesko, and it's not even to me that we bring in Sesko and it doesn't work for us, so we can't get the best out of our squad. It's how Arteta would actually end up using him. That's kind of my thinking is that he would use him the wrong way, and then we would pay for that. Like he wouldn't like.
Well, that's what he wants him for. He wants him for a hold-up play and basically all the stuff Kai can do. I think, well, why do you
Yeah,
need
but
two Kais when you have a Kai?
he's not Kai. Come on, stop that. That's
No.
kind of no. He's not Kai in that sense. He's not Kai in the sense of what a striker. So if you're saying he can do all the hold up play and all of that,
Well, that's why
I'll tell you then he's better than Kai because he is a striker and he'll probably do a lot more things as a striker than Kai will do as a retrofit fitted
that's just what
striker.
I was reading on why Arteta preferred him and Berto's going the other way.
I mean, we all are looking at right. Do you want to win games or do you want to continue doing what you're doing? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to win games, you need to one. You're gonna have to take maybe a little bit of risk. He's gonna have to learn how to play with a player like. You're telling me he go. People are saying right. He will go to He's the next in line for City, next in line for Barcelona. So he's gonna go to those teams with the strikers and the front lines that they have, and he's gonna try to play the same way. I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that at all. He's not going to go. Say he takes a job at City, right? He's going to go there and say, Harlan, you know what? I don't like the fact that you don't track back. No, that you might don't even bother taking a job. You're going to go to Barcelona, all right? You look at that front line with Vinny and Mbappe there, and go and Bellingham, and you're going to go. You know what? You guys, you're not defending enough for me. Are you kidding? Are you kidding? No. He's not going to do that. He's not. I don't believe he will do that. I think he's handcuffed himself and he's put himself in a situation where he keeps reloading the defense and never fixing every other places. Here's a stat for you from Arsenal Misfit. Martinelli is ranked 47th in big chances missed with 7. Both Trossard and Saka have more, 9 and 8. I don't know how to feel about that because I know what Saka brings to us. The man still leads us and was like leading the league in chances created. So the fact that he's missing them, for me, he's missing them, and I've seen we, that's like looking at Harlan's stats and saying, you know what, it's bad, but Martinelli's stats are worse in a sense that he has less misses, but he's put himself in so many positions to actually take the chance, and he doesn't. You know,
and Trossard and Saka do what pretty much you and me both ask of them: just shoot the ball.
Yeah. That's why we needed more. That's why we need more creation. For me, I think it's more creation. That's why we need more creative players on the pitch. Because we are getting big chances we're missing, but a lot of you look at any play you're bringing, their misses are going to be pretty big, right? Harlan's got the most missed chances in the league. Anybody saying no, we don't want him? No, that's not. I think you're going to still take him, right? So I feel like that the Martinelli stat is for not just for the misses; it's for all the other things that he does. I mean, how many times does he dribble down and, like I said, like just kill an attack either by not going in attacking the goal or pulling it back when he doesn't need to, or just in some cases just dribbling out of bounds.
I swear it's 70% of the time he just dribbles it out of the back.
Yeah, so it's I hear what you're saying. I'm keeping Saka, Stephen. Trossard, Martinelli can go.
I still think Trossard gives you the creativity you need, but you just need that striker that he can give a ball to and know it's going in the back of the net.
Yeah, the overall game from Saka that you don't care about those big chances missed, and I feel like we've seen him miss some chances this year, and he's giggled and smiled, and like I've been upset about it. And then like I think in either the last game or the game before that, he took one, and he was definitely disappointed in himself when he took it. And I kind of like that as well. So maybe he's learning, or maybe he's just happy to be out there, right? Because he probably shouldn't even be playing, especially past 60 minutes.
Can I call you a hypocrite, Gary? Because you always like when I'm smiling, no matter what's going on in my life. So. Sonic can smile if he wants to.
No, no. I think it's a little different what you're talking about here. You're talking about life, and we're talking about his job where he's supposed to put the ball in the net when he gets put in that position, and he's failing and smiling. No, it's a little different. Just a little different.
It seems like to me, it's like Cassard and Gabrielle is the only ones that ever looks pissed off when it doesn't go the way they want it to
And
go.
that's what you want, though. You want that from your attackers. Like they should feel disappointed. They work really hard to put themselves in a position to score, and then when it doesn't play out, they're like, "Damn it!" And you know what they'll do the next time? They'll be a little bit better, a little bit more on it. In terms of a little bit more attention to detail. Got BBK Sports in the house. Welcome to the show, my man. Thanks for joining us. He says hi to Big Gunner. So yeah, no, I hear you on that one. Let's see here. I think Arteta wants Seska because he's able to interchange him with striker and in the wing. Arteta likes players that play multiple roles, not specialists. Yeah, I think that's a good and a bad trait to have in your.
I was going to say that earlier. I think we're past this point of having these utility players. You got to buy the player that's best in that position. And when you're buying backups, you need to buy the best available player in that position. You have to. That's where you don't end up with your depth that you need. You have to. And like the summer, all these players that are on loans or loans with obligations to, even though they haven't been in a team, we need to replace them because we're only playing with 15, 16 players when you have a 20, 29 or 25 roster team, depending on where you're playing.
Yeah, and the one reason why he likes multiple roles, at least in my eyes. Hmm. Hello, hello. I don't know what happened there. Yeah, that was really weird. My I don't know. My machine just cut out. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. I'm back now. Tony, like he's having issues as well. Yep. Thank you, PX, for that. What's weird is before the show, my computer just went dead. I don't know why. And so I hopefully you guys can hear me. Let me know if you can give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Let's see. I will get rid of this one here, and I'll add this one here.
I didn't know if you froze or I froze.
Well, I don't know why you froze, but I froze. My computer just like died. So we'll see. Hopefully, it doesn't do that again. Um,
The last thing I heard you say is that this is, you were to explain why Arteta likes utility players is the last thing I
well,
heard.
one because his talent ID is poor, and his not only his talent ID but his player management. Right. Let me start with the first one. His player management is poor, and his talent ID is he doesn't
Uh,
trust it. He doesn't trust his talent ID because he identifies a player like a Kyrior, and then he doesn't play him in his preferred position. All right. He identifies a player like Calafiori, and he doesn't play him in his position. Why? Because he has a starter there. Guess what, Arteta? Rotation is a really good thing to have in your repertoire as a manager. You need to be able to rotate your players. Saka can't play every minute, 90 minutes on the tot. He can't, right? Your center back
Arteta
cannot
thinks he can.
your center backs cannot play 90 minutes every match. You know what I mean? Like your players, all of your players, none of them can play 54. Like I think I saw that Raya has played 54 matches, right? And I think he didn't play in two, right? Because um yeah, actually three. We had three. Yeah, we had three. So there's 57 games played total. He didn't play in three of them. Neto played in one. Scary. Porter and Setford actually played in one game each themselves, and they actually didn't look that bad. I think we won both of those, if I recall. So you know what? That's on Arteta as far as you know what, dude. Come on, let's utilize your players to the fullest. Saliba's got over 4,400 minutes. Declan Rice over 4,000 minutes. Partey over 3,600 minutes. Sorry, 44,000 minutes. Timber over 3,600 minutes. Right, right, and you've got players sitting there under 1,000. Zinchenko, Tierney, and those are the ones under 1,000. I think those two players should have gotten more minutes. Um, so
Because if they're struggling on defense, put Tierney out there because he's a good defender.
mhm.
To take a little off attack. I
Yep.
mean, that's why he plays Calafieri, and I'm surprised he hasn't went to Zinchenko more because
Mhm.
Zinchenko's good going forward, whether it's at fullback or I would put him in the midfield, but Arteta doesn't want to go that way for whatever reason.
Yep. 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 So that's why I kind of feel like he's sometimes okay with players not being versatile, right? And he wastes them sometimes. They play okay, but then they should be better off playing in their preferred position.
Yeah, it's like I said, they need to be playing in their best position.
Hmm.
You're at this point where you can't get by with utility players because you're not going to win what you want to win if you're playing with players that aren't the best in their position. That's what you have to do. We need a striker. Go buy the best available striker, preferably in the Premier League. And what gets me, Gary, is it came out last week that our transfer kitty's only $100 million. How the hell are we to get what we need with $100 million?
I don't believe that, but I guess we'll find out if that's true. I don't believe that though, because the last window, I think if I recall, I think we only spent about 24. Like when you the net spend, if you want to call it that,
Yeah,
was about 24 mil. I think at the end of the day, we didn't spend enough. Lot we did sell our players and get some money back for them. So
finally.
I kind of felt like you know what, we should have more than enough. Yeah. If I'm looking at it here, um, where is it? We what's this going to tell me? Yeah, our net. Let's see. We sold for 83, and we bought for 108. So about 23 mil is what we spent. after the sales that we made in terms of the loan, the fees that we got from our players. So 23 mil in one year. We're typically negative 100 for the years prior to this. So I don't understand. I don't understand why why we don't have more. You know what? So I think something's not right about that number of 100 mil. I mean, we were teetering on the PSR last year, and we just went really good in terms of not hitting that number this time. So I don't know. I think something. We'll see, but I don't think. I think 100 mil sounds a little bit under. And from my little birdie that talks to me, we should have enough. We should have enough to
Yeah.
cover what we want.
I didn't know you were from Games of Thrones and had little birdies talking to you.
Yeah, I like to say I got an inside man, but Biascona says I think Arteta wants Sesko because he's okay. No, we talked about that. This was the next thing. It was Arsenal misfit. I think I lost everybody when I left. At least from this, it doesn't sound like everybody's back. But sorry about that, folks. That was me losing a little bit of my machine just going dead here. So let's see. Sesko is not the finished article yet. So for me, Arteta can take a long walk off a short pier. Only take him if no one else is left. And thank God that is not up to Arteta anymore. Yeah, we'll see if that's the thing we're going to have to understand is whether Berta is the man in charge. All right. If he's the man in charge, then yeah, we'll be better off for it. We shall see. We shall see. Now, hopefully, Berta is the one, and it sounds like Berta is the one that's pushing Gyökeres. So he probably knows something a little bit about what the team needs. Arteta needs to figure out how to get. I mean, I don't know what Arteta thinks he's going to get out of Sesko that he can't get out of Gyökeres. You know what I mean?
It's a really weird deal, and it's so yeah. Who actually has the power of a club if we end up with that stuff.
Yeah, so I kind of felt like if Berta is doing what we expect, then he's going to get the one he wants, and it's a lot more long term for Arsenal. And Arteta has to figure out how to play with the best striker available to the team, not play that can fit when we really need somebody with a lot more. If a player scores 50 goals in a season, and he can only score 25 for us when he plays, that's definitely a positive. Now we need 25 in the league. We'll see how that plays out. But if Kai Havertz can get 15, and Gyökeres should be able to get 20. Yeah,
you should be able to get 25 to 30 since.
I'm just giving him. I'm saying a bad year for him would be 20, and that would be more than what we got from Kai Havertz and any striker since Aubameyang's left. Yeah. Steven is with Timber going in for surgery again. How many players have we got that went under the knife this season? Yeah, I mean, think about it. I mean, not even like Nelson went under the knife, and he wasn't with us. Got Saka, right? You've got Kai. You've got Timber. I don't know. Did Timber actually go for surgery? Is that right? He went for surgery?
Maybe now, but I didn't think he did it. Maybe in the off season before.
Yeah, and Jesus was under the knife, right? So there's at least 5 players.
And what's bad about those, Gary, is most of those are muscle injuries. So that again boils down to what are you guys doing in training? What's your fitness guy doing on getting these guys with a proper diet to heal and do that stuff? It's just, I mean, we already went through the minutes. I don't think anybody should go past 4,000. Right, you might be able to say, yeah, he can go over it.
But even him, just remember.
Yeah, it's too much.
He's been like looking a little shaky at the end of this season, and I still feel like your goalkeeper doesn't need to play every match.
Yeah.
Putting them in, so I kind of felt like you should be able to play them in the cup match. You should be able to play your backup in the cup matches. I mean, we saw Satford actually looked okay playing there, right, in the cup match. So I kind of feel like this John Garcia. I think Arsenal, Arteta and Edu screwed that one up if we're not able to get him now. Sounds like Villa is going to be looking for a starter, right? With Emi Martinez looking to move on, either Saudi or looks like some other, sounds like Saudi or Manchester United might be looking
And
for
Barcelona was another one.
another goalkeeper. So I kind of felt like that should come. I mean, I don't know why we didn't. I believe we had the money to bring in John Garcia last summer. So kind of felt like we screwed that one up.
It's so weird that Neto just played one game.
It's so weird that they actually brought him in after they knew he could not play a cup match for them, and they could have squashed that by getting him a day or a week sooner. It just seems silly. Like, and maybe that I don't know what that's all about. That's bad on everybody. Like somebody should be saying no. I don't. I want a player I can play. Like as a manager, can he play in the cup matches? No. Whoa. I can't use him. Right? Uh, Edu. I can bring him in, but he just played in a cup match. He's tied. I can't. We can't use him. Somebody recruiting somebody. Assistant managers. How are we going to use him? Is he going to play in any Premier League matches? Yeah, if I get to see how he plays, well, you're not going to ever get to see how he plays because he can't play in any cup matches.
That's what it's like going back to when you had all those Champions League play-in games, and then you would have players that weren't eligible to play. So if you signed them in August, they're already cup tied because they were playing play-in games for the Champions League.
Yeah, that
Like
seems
two
weird.
two rounds they play.
That seems weird that the playing games count against you, but I get it. I get it. Too many mistakes and too many lost opportunities, says BX. Yep, yep. And we don't know. We'll find out with Berta whether that was the combination of Edu and Arteta. And we'll go from there.
I really wish we had a documentary for this season because there's I know that since Arsenal has final say with stuff wouldn't make it, but I'm so curious of what happened to do why supposedly if Arteta's asking for these players, he's not getting any
Did they?
help. I mean, there's so many unknowns there.
Yeah. No, I don't think we would have gotten any information, even if they were doing a documentary. So, no way they would have put that information out there. Yeah. If we have just 100 mil to spend, then we're done for next season. That's enough. Just one player these days. Yeah. No. If we if we only have 100 mil, then Gukares and Sesko and any striker that we want to get, would cover at least half of our budget. But I don't. I'm hoping that 100 mil is basically how much we have to pay towards transfers for the initial transfer kitty, essentially, as opposed to how much we're going to spend total in loan fees over the course of a contract.
Yeah, but the way it was worded was that was 100 million's what you got besides what you do with player sales.
Yeah, we're not selling, and we have more players leaving on a free than we do to sell. Right? Tyranny's gone, Partey's gone, Jorginho's gone. All players that were worthy you could have made money on, but they're going for free. All right. Zinchenko has a year left. Who's going to take him for any kind of substantial money? Sambi's
Trossard wants to leave.
Trossard wants to leave. Sambi will be coming back. Tavaj, I believe that deal is going to go through. They're going to pay whatever it is for him.
9 million.
So that's
nine 9 million for one of the best assist numbers in Europe.
Well, when you put a player and you No, I don't even know if we punished him. He just was playing in a position that he just didn't suit for us, and he looked bad for us.
It,
So it
but
makes it
it's the
just.
same. But it's the same position.
But it's
It's
not the same position because it's not the same role. So it can't be the same. Like there's nothing like
he did have a same role.
a wing
He was
back and
going for it.
a wing back, right? And a fullback are not the same position.
Yeah, but Arteta plays fullbacks as wingbacks. It's just he doesn't
He's
have that extra
terrible at
defender.
defending, so he's a fullback in terms of what Arsenal wanted out of him, and he was looking really bad. Like if you said, guess what, you know, Saliba or Gabriel, I forgot what side he plays on, but whoever's going to come in and back you up, then we're fine. But too many times he got laid out there and got punished. We got punished for it. So
I remember when I ended up breaking it down. It's like you had Sesko wing back. You had Kavad wing back, and there's some other ones that were there. It's like just play the guys and their preferred role. I mean, if you can go off and get one of the best assist numbers in Europe, but you're benched at Arsenal, that tells you Arsenal is not using you the correct way. It's not like he numerically got
yeah,
better.
but no, but we don't play. His talents don't fit his skill set. Doesn't fit what we want. And that's why I started this whole thing off with the talent ID. What were you
Yeah,
expecting to get out of a Tavage when you brought him in? A fullback? Well, he doesn't play fullback. You figured it out pretty quickly, right? When you put him in a bad in a, out of his position, and he looked bad out there. So that that is recruitment and some management in terms of putting him in positions. Like he's getting torched in at Anfield, right? He probably shouldn't even have played in that match, right?
yeah.
That's so that's one of the things that stands out for me. And that's on Arteta. You're making your players look bad, which makes you look bad, which makes Arsenal looks bad. So he did all he that's a lot of that is on Arteta, and some of the bringing him in was probably a combination of Adu and himself. So Arsenal misfit hasn't trusted Arteta since he went after Mudryk, and we luckily missed out on him, and I think he's still out of the league now. Performance enhancement drugs or something like that. Biggest Gunner's like, Misfit, I'm there with you. I've lost all faith and trust in the manager. Yeah, who you have? You have BX. Yeah, he's been given the keys to a Ferrari and he drives it like a Hyundai. Yeah, he holds back. He definitely doesn't want to push on the gas, man. Got his hands on it. Got the handbrake down up, and it's struggling to figure out why it's not moving forward. And yeah, he's
Or he doesn't know how to operate with clutch. It's one of those tricky clutches, and he just keeps on grinding the gears.
I'll tell you this: he needs more help, and not only with better players, but I feel support
They have to do that no matter what.
support
Gary.
around him in the sense that he's got a young staff, but they're not helping him. They're not helping him. They're enabling him, and that's not helping him. Like there should be somebody there at some point in a match going, it's 60 minutes now.
Yeah,
it's not working.
It's
not.
You had Arteta bench for one game, and you saw Arsenal play the way you want Arsenal to play, just full tilt attack.
Yeah,
But
good city.
why doesn't Airport speak up?
As I said,
or does he speak up and Arteta doesn't listen?
Yeah, if he does, and I don't understand why did he resign? All of the backroom staff supposedly resigned with Arteta. So for me, is it the money? Because at some point it's the money. Like it's, we've seen, we saw with the women's team, right? They brought in one of their managers, one of their assistant managers, and Renee's done really well. And you're like, was Jonas not listening to her when she was talking, or, because she's taken the same squad and done tremendously well. They're right there. They're one match away from putting their arms up in the air and winning a Champions League for the second time for the team. Right. So
Yeah.
so I don't know, but I feel like at some point he should have more support next to him, and he doesn't. Like he's doing the same things over and over again. Can't tell me where he can't come in and give you minutes in any game. Like if you're only gonna give him 5 minutes, I don't like it, but give him 5 minutes then. If we've got 2 and 3 subs sometimes available to us, and we still are not using it.
And that's what's crazy is like there have been games that we got a red card and we only subbed in 2 players in one of those games. It's like, of course they're getting tired. You got to substitute them in, but Arteta does it. I don't know if he doesn't remember he can actually make play.
Well, I just feel like
it's so ridiculous.
I think he's so dedicated to letting players figure it out, but he doesn't let them. It doesn't allow them to be themselves either. So they're restricted, so they never get to do that. Arsenal Misfit says talent ID. We have Saliba, White, Partey, and Erdogan, some of the best ball progression passes in the league. And what do? We move the ball up the pitch at a snail's pace. Wasted talent, and it's not that okay. It's definitely wasted talent, but I kind of feel like that's what Arteta wants. That's what Arteta wants. I mean, the only player that seemingly will dribble, at least on the wings, is Martinelli, and we saw in the PSG game giving the ball to Skelly and Rice. That was the only way we were going to progress the ball up the pitch at the feet instead of try to pass it and we just pass it to the wrong team over and over again. Right, at some point we needed to put the ball at our feet and penetrate the defense. But yeah, no, and I think we're thinking don't make that pass because it might not make it there, as opposed to at some point we need to make that pass. I mean, people complain about Partey's completion percentage, and I'm like, that's because he's actually trying to move the ball up the pitch. Right? Erdogan doesn't make that pass because it might not get there. Guess what? The only way, especially when we turn the ball over, we don't want to punish the other team. We will sit back and let them reset. And I kind of feel that's wasted. You waste everything when you do that. See, Big Gunner says Arteta's being forced to get a striker now after years of refusing to bring in a 9. Yet he cries he needs one in January, and all of a sudden he's in dire need of one to bail him out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand what that was all about because, as you said, he's never really asked for any players in any window when he's needed them. Right? We always knew we needed a backup to Partey.
Right, and that was before two of attacking injuries.
And he went out and got Jorginho. Right? We knew we needed backups to our center backs, and he's got some backups, but he's never using them. Right? Calafiore and Kiwior should be the backup center backs for us. We knew we needed a backup to Saka. To some degree, I guess, they got Sterling, I guess. I mean, that's the only player brought in, but he's not really on that side of the pitch, so I don't know. He doesn't ask for much in there. So that was what was strange about him asking that time, because he never really asked. He never asked. In any other season that I can remember him asking for a specific position to come in.
Some of those players that ended up injured in February must have been injured then, or playing with injuries or playing hurt, whichever way you like to phrase it.
Yeah, they're hitting the red line, right? Because that this season epitomized why we needed rotation, because he never had. We played so many games down a man, right? We played many games with missing parts, so people who usually would not be playing are playing now. Kai Havertz is, got to be dependent on to do everything because we had nobody else at some point. I mean, you just put a lot of pressure and a lot of physical wear and tear on your players because you didn't have the right squad. We got 3 to 5 academy players on our bench. That shouldn't be. Uh-oh. Let's see. You have is everything fine? Yeah. Let's see. This is weird. I don't know what to do here. All right.
What happened, Gary?
No, my Instagram is lost, but I guess that's fine. I don't know. I'm just gonna kill it in Instagram. I think when I didn't realize it when I lost my connection or something. It killed my Instagram feed, but that's okay. We'll be moving on. MLS can carry that up all upfield through midfield with ease. He's courageous. Yeah, I mean we saw that in that PSG game, right? Skelly, Rice got relieved the pressure once they got the ball at their feet. We just tried to go up the Timber side, and that hurt us. Let Raya try to make these long passes. That's not going to work. So, yeah, that's weird. Is he doesn't like a chaos factor, but he creates one the same way that Raya doesn't like to have to. Probably doesn't really want to have to make saves, but has to make saves because he puts ball. I don't know if there's a miscommunication with his back line or he just can't pass because he's passing sometimes to the wrong team and then creating situations that are really bad.
And Saliba's made a half a dozen mistakes when he's got past two back there.
Well, that's partly right. Some on the goalkeeper because he can see the opponents coming. When the defensive player is getting the ball, and he turns or he has a bad touch, and there's an attack. There's a attacker there. That's when the goalkeeper needs to either put the ball in a better position or get it out to them quicker. So yeah. I hear what you're saying, BX. I just feel like he doesn't like it, but he creates it, and then you're like, "Whoa, what are you doing?"
That's kind of why I wish we kept our buddy Matt as a backup because he could. He talked in 8 different languages, and he would talk in Spanish, talk in Brazil back there, so everybody knew what was going on.
I would like to think that was the only thing that could make it better, but I kind of felt like they've been playing with each other for a while now, so communication shouldn't be an issue after 2-3 years of playing together. I feel like yeah, I get that he just showed up, but he's like in his third year now, right? I think that's yeah, no, I feel like no, not anymore. Like the communication's got to be there now. Beek says the manager refuses to change tactic, formations, and gameplay. He's one-dimensional and fails year in and year out to get the best out of his squad. Yeah, he's definitely not overachieving with the players that he has, for sure.
And that's what invites those mistakes back there by the center back because your fullback were up there trying to score a goal instead of being back.
When the pass is terrible, you can't blame it on the fact that the fullback's not there. Right?
But it could be stress knowing that
you
see
but the pass shouldn't be made.
Five defenders going that direction, and you only got 1 or 2 outlets to go to.
Then you just boot it long and you scream at your players and tell them to move because a lot of times, guess what they're doing? They're not moving. They're not coming back for the ball. They're running away from them, like you said. And you know what? At some point, you need to relieve the pressure. So you need to come back or get yourself. A lot of times they're standing there expecting the pass to come. And he's like, I can't make that pass. The opponent will just step in front of it because you're not moving.
Or do what lots of goalkeepers used to boot it up. It would go out of bounds about the 30-yard line, then you just reset.
For sure, but like I said, that's the communication. Maybe it needs to happen. Is I don't have the support back here. You need to don't just run away from me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't just run away from me. You need to look up and see what's going on. So yeah, that's on that's on Arteta and his assistants to get that communication going. Not we shouldn't be talking about this stuff after 30 games in a season. Still talking about his communication is lacking. So and that's on the way the team's managed and coached.
I, I wish we had what NASCAR has is you can listen to the crew chief, so you can just sit there and listen to what Arteta's constantly barking out as a player.
Mm.
I still think that plays in a factor because you got this manager, you know that he's watching you because he's telling you what to do constantly, and that should be settled in the practice and watching the film. It's like you you know what to do before the game comes around. It's like you don't have to make these in-game changes because you know what they're gonna do, you know what you want to do. But instead, Arteta's, I don't know why he thinks he has to micromanage every pass, and that's where a lot of the creativity goes because I don't think he gives them a full reign at it because you've had, like I said, you have Jesus, and they're asked to be back in the midfield. And
Mm.
it's like, that's not what a striker does, Arteta.
True. Yeah, I hear it. I hear you on some of that. Because Gunner says next season every team will have improved, and it will be even harder to win anything. I hear you, but I don't believe that to be entirely true.
But
Well,
top four is definitely
if we bring in more players, if we don't have to deal with all the crap that we've had to deal with in terms of injuries and red cards punishing us in games, and our manager not learning all those things, we improve in all those aspects of football. We will put ourselves in position. We have put ourselves in positions to win trophies this year with all of that going on. If we're able to bring in, the 3 to 5 players that we need to, hopefully the 5 players that we need to, then we'll have a bigger squad, and we have learned from the previous season, and maybe we get lucky and nobody has the significant injuries. So I think there's a lot that can go that puts us in a position. All right, these players know how to play, have lost have lost leagues in the first part of seasons, at the end, and over the course of an entire season like this year. I mean, it's not just one point in the system where we lost it. Just over the
uh,
course
uh,
of basically 37 games, we have lost it. Whereas you can look at some of the other seasons, the previous 2 seasons, and see where we lost it in the beginning and where we lost it at the end. You know.
there's not going to be like it was this year that you have two, maybe three if City win on the weekend in the top four. It's like they're usually 4 to 5 teams with 70 points, and Chelsea's probably going to get better.
Yeah, we keep saying that. We've been saying that every time, every season, and guess what has happened? They're not improving as much as you think. So I hear you, but nobody's doing exactly what everybody says. They say it all the time. Well, next year all these teams are going to do better, and then what happens? Arsenal's still in second. So, and that's Arsenal in second, not doing anything. Right. So, you know, it's, I think Berto will make a difference. Let's see here. Saliba has a year left in his contract. I didn't look happy at all that last game. I wonder what happened. I think he's just worn down, but also I think he has 2 years on his contract. I think he has 1+1. So Arteta and Arsenal can just pay that second season. So I think he's got 2 seasons, I believe. So that's why they want to sign him up this year. And it sounds like he wants to resign. So I don't think he's happy because I think he's worn down. I mean, Curio looks better than him in some of these games.
I, I think he's looked better than him in all the games since Gabriel's been out.
Yeah, but I think it's a wear and tear mentally and physically.
And that was a
When you take a player, when you take your support out, I think everything looks a little bit more, everything's a little bit more weights on your shoulder.
yeah. I don't know if it's that or what I was gonna say earlier when you were talking about Ray has been a little sketchy at the end of the year. Is it because Real Madrid's looking at both of them?
It
Could
could
be
be that,
playing.
but it could be like I said, they're just playing. They're dead tired on their feet and no rotation. They have to keep going out there, and they're happy to do it, but maybe they should be sitting. Should be
Yeah,
sitting. Yeah.
I would like to
Um,
go like player by player
yeah.
and make them do a survey and say how satisfied are you with the manager. You go from 1 to 10, and I'm curious what that number would be.
Yeah. Yeah. If they would give you the truth, right? We don't even know if they give you the truth. Or some players are just they want to keep their money, so they're not going to do anything like that. So Gary, do you trust Arteta to do the right amount of business this summer? I don't. That's the thing. I don't think Arteta should be handling any level of business this summer. If he is, and we've seen how that works, then yeah, that's a problem, and that's an Arsenal problem. That's not an Arteta problem, right? If you give the keys to the Ferrari to a kid with no license, then you run the risk that they're going to crash, right? Berta is a mature adult in this scenario. You said, do you trust Arsenal to do the correct? I do when they bring in Berta and they let him do his business. So that's I will trust
Uh,
if it's Berta making a decision.
uh,
If it's a well Arteta and you have to agree thing, then I kind of I don't I wouldn't trust that. So yeah, but I do. They bring in Berta. I expect that is because he's going to have a little bit more power to do the right thing or do what he feels is best.
but the squad's so thin that there's no way he could do everything that's needed this summer or in the winter window. He's handcuffed because Arteta, do the Chronicies, whoever you want to blame, but blame all of them. But you haven't been replacing these players, and that's why you're at where you're at. Plus, Arteta doesn't trust them, so that's why your academy kids have been saying, "No, I've given you 6, 7, 10 years of academy
Well,
play.
he hasn't been
You're
there. He's only been there for 5.5 years, right? So you can't say, well, you're going to give him 6, 7 years of my career to this team, and
no,
now I'm leaving. But like, so like,
I'm just
I
saying,
mean,
but those kids,
Balogun would have should have been the light bulb to go off. That maybe we need to look at our academy a little bit differently, right? And not just look at Saka and go, see, it works there because that's not. He's under a totally different situation as we are now, right? Under a totally different. He got to play all these positions because Emery you know, needed it, needed to figure out what he had, right? So, and his talent ID is probably better, right? Because he figured out that Saka can play in these different positions. So, yeah. So I kind of felt like what this is what goes back to whether he's got the experience or not. Got retroholic gamer in the house. Welcome to the show. I saw you there. I know it's 5 minutes since you joined, but hopefully you're still hanging out with us. Yeah, I guess we haven't even talked about the game. Arsenal won, Newcastle nil. Going into the game, I was hoping Arsenal wins 2-1. I expected Newcastle to score even with or without Isak, and I guess we were lucky Isak was out because of the way we played. I mean, they dominated the game in the sense of attacking. And we got lucky that they just didn't have their number one player on the pitch. I mean, we didn't really have ours either in terms of we didn't they were out Isak, we were out pretty much a lot more players than that. So the fact that it's even with that we still are able to hold up under the pressure they gave us. It's got to be something's got to be said about that. We've been doing that pretty much this last 2 months, getting by, and everybody else, is
Yeah,
losing.
but they've beat us 3 times this season, so
Yeah, but they didn't beat us 4, so it's not as bad as it could have been.
yeah, we could have been out of the Champions League.
Well, we wouldn't have been out just because we lost to Newcastle.
No, I'm saying that you would have been in the position where you could have.
No, but we're not because our
Yeah, I
team
know.
is actually that good defensively that teams aren't able to punish us like they should when they put in that situation. That's the one thing. I mean, we're going to talk about all these negative things. We're not getting blown out in games.
Well, you better not for what you've spent back there.
Yeah. But we're not playing with all of our players back there. So Timber's probably been a little bit iffy for multiple games now. And we finally got to the point where we said, we'll just pull him now. So my thing is, what's the point of having all of our academy players play the same style and formation if we're not going to give them a shot at the first team? It's a pointless process for sure. For sure, that is a pointless process. But we'll see. We saw Skelly and Wary. Maybe we'll see some other players. I mean, I know Max Dallman is supposed to be going with the team to the preseason matches and all of that. I don't know if 15-year-old is if you're like he's not there yet, right?
Yeah.
But right now, in terms of our academy, the players that could have been playing at this point are all gone. Right? All the players that could possibly would be playing with us and getting an opportunity are not here. I'm not sure of any 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds coming out right now from the academy that are destined for the first team.
You don't think any of those 4 or 5 names that constantly appear on the team sheet, you don't think any of them's good enough to?
Well, not Butler, right? I don't know who. I mean, who else has been there? I don't think so. I think some of those players are going to be going out on loan. So no, I don't believe any of those players that you saw on the benches are going to be players that will be part of the squad next year. I hear what you're saying, but I don't believe so. I don't believe so. Because let me see who was on. I mean, we've had, like I said, Butler has been on our bench and Wary's been on our bench. The one player I thought would get a chance is Josh Nichols because he actually looked pretty good when he played in the preseason. But he hasn't had an opportunity to. I haven't seen. I don't even know where he is now. If he's just continuing to play. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about him, but he looked really good when he came on. Oops, I clicked the wrong thing here. So let's see here. Oops, this is not where I want to start from the end of the season when we had more players.
Right. There's some of those players I still don't know who they were, but her name was on there.
So on the bench we had Jack Henry Francis. That was the outside of Inwary. He was the other player that was on our bench. He's 21 years old. He's from Ireland. He's played. Where did he play? He must be. He's played. Let's see when the last time he played. He played 17 days ago against Manchester City in the quarterfinals. That's the last time he played football. So, yeah, I don't know. That is, yeah. So I don't think no. Nope. So that's one player that I don't know. 21 years old. I mean, we saw. Yeah. So I don't think. Let's go to the previous match here and see. Who do we have against Liverpool? Because I think against Liverpool, yeah, we had Jack Henry Francis. We had Nathan Butler. So Nathan Butler, we've seen him play, and he looked okay, but is he going to get a chance? I don't know about that. And I think PSG, nope. Let's see, who do we play in between PSG, Bournemouth? Yeah, Jimmy Gower was in there. I think that's how you Gower. And Brandon Clark also was on the bench. Two academy players.
Yeah, those are the ones I
20
don't know
year
who the hell
old
they are.
20-year-old. Last time he played was late April against Newcastle, and that is Gower. And then Brandon Clark was also on our bench. He played in late April as well. So looks like they're both starters. Yeah, they're all starters for that PL2, the Division 2. I'm not sure what that is in terms of that. Yeah, so PL2, I guess, right? Division 2. Of the, you
I
call
think
that
that's
academy? I don't know if that's academy or not. I don't know.
I think it's under 23. It's like
Oh, U23s. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah. Right. Yeah, it was U21. I think
yeah, it's
there's a U23
21.
and there's a U20 and there's a U21. I think. So yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, we had a couple of players from the academy playing, but yeah, no, no. I mean, what's the deal with Ethan? Seems there's an issue there. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, some people said, he's played a lot and he's played about 30 matches. He's been in 30 matches for Arsenal. So I just feel like Arteta has utilized him is over. If there is a limit to how much they wanted to play him, they used him incorrectly. They probably had him playing when he shouldn't. So I kind of felt like, you know what? You probably wasted your chances, the ones that you gave him. Giving him
Yeah,
5 minutes here and there, I think you need to give him more. So I think that's it. I don't know. People have been saying,
it's
mm,
criminal
mm,
to me that he didn't play when the Odegaard was out, but
yeah,
that's the point of jumping from the under 17s to the skipping the under 21s. You just go from the under 17s where you're playing talent that isn't as good as you, but then you jump in there to guys that have played many years in the Premier League. So
yeah.
you're probably gonna get burned out, and that was part of it. But if you're gonna get burned out, you might as well use him when you needed
Hmm.
him. You needed him in October, November when Odegaard was out. Then maybe you win this league.
Skelly was playing in that Premier League too. So, and he even played this season in it. So,
I think that's the
the
under 23s. I think
yeah.
that's
Well,
what it
everybody
is.
was on. It said U21 when I looked at some of the stuff there. I think just the PL Division One. I don't know. That's got a PL2 Division One, and it's PL2. It looked like U21s from everything it was saying there. So, but we're gonna get ready to go soon. We got about 5 minutes to shut this thing down. But let's say hi to Tiger and Gunnar. He just joins us, even though we are going to be ending this thing. Um, I got
How'd
to get
you
up. I got to get
how'd
up
your
in the morning.
trip go, Tiger?
Yeah, I think he did say he had fun. I don't know if he said he got a chance to meet up, but said got to watch a game. So yeah, I think you let us know. So Tony, we are going to get
Yeah,
out of here. What say you about? I mean, we talked about Newcastle for a little bit. We did get the win, so that secured
yeah.
us in second. Now it's silly season. We've got one more game against Southampton. Hopefully, in where he gets a start. If he's available to play, then he should get a start. But if they're just managing his minutes and his time, then they're doing what they feel is best. Everybody else says no, but we held back Saliba, and we see where he is now. So I think we should be okay. If that Saliba, everybody said, has looked good, and maybe it's because of the way they managed him. So he says it was a great trip. Definitely enjoyed that. So yeah, but I think I asked you to talk, and then I started talking. So
Yeah, that's fine.
tell me, what would you like to say before we head out of here?
Uh, disappointing season. You're to finish 18 to 15 points behind what you did last season. Like I said, we're two games away from finishing sixth, and I think based on these things we always say Arteta needs improving on. He hasn't improved on them yet, so he's not going to. It's time to pull the plug. And I don't remember what else I was at. Oh, that's what I was going to say. As I say, you have these defenders live. You used to have Emmett Smith. He would run with a parachute. That's what you're doing with a lot of your defense when you're having the guys up there in attack and you're having Odegaard, Saka, other player, Martinelli having to drop back and play defense as much as they do because you're playing your fullbacks as wing backs, but you don't have the extra defensive guy there. So, I don't know. I just hopefully we get what we need. Hopefully Berto's the boss.
Berta.
Berta, yeah. We can call him Berta.
I think it's Andrea Berta. I think I've been calling him Carlos Berta, and other names as well. So, but Berta is his last name. Anything else, Tony Tone?
Yeah, hopefully my Thunder win.
Oh yeah, they closed that one out really nicely on the weekend there. So yeah.
That was a team that didn't line up very good against because Denver's got such a good center there, and Oklahoma City's mainly got the height back there.
Yeah, I mean he needed Denver. He needed a little bit more help, and he didn't have it in that game. It's joke it right.
Yeah,
yeah. He needed more. Murray was not on it. I mean, their defense was really good. Thunder. So from what I saw, so yeah. Are you there for that?
Yeah, that's kind of how they've lost some of those games. They kind of played whatever style Denver wanted to stay instead of how they won 68 games, and that's playing their defense. Let's teams struggle to break that down.
I heard that.
So hopefully they get us and go to the NBA finals.
I hear you.
And
all right.
I don't know when I'm gonna do my show this week because I got a dentist appointment that will put me behind my normal Thursday time. So
all right.
Don't know if I'll do a gorilla show Wednesday, Friday. I don't know.
Okay.
Try and do something.
You're off to Sydney tomorrow morning. All right. Oh, you got the Arsenal Australia AGM conference. Cool. Yeah, I don't get to any of like the Arsenal weekend. The club they meet up because I usually watch the game at home and like either commuting to go watch it and then having to come back. I guess is just a deterrent for me. But yes. Anything else, Tony? Before I go?
No.
All right. Everybody, thank you for joining us. It was great. It was a great time, I believe. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back next week for after the last game. And we'll see what we're going to do for the summer months. Might give ourselves a little break and maybe do a show every other week. I know I have some travel plans, so we might take those days off just because of that. So that gives us a little bit of a break because there won't be much football to start. I think until the World Cup, the Club World Cup, I think it is, or is that how you say it? The Club
have a
World Cup.
club.
Yeah.
Another competition to
Thank you.
put more minutes on players' legs. And
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
need to address that sometime again, because we said that for all footballers, since you had all those summer competitions, and then you get into the league and you still had all these international breaks. These players are just playing way too many minutes.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. And then we got a World Cup coming up soon. So yeah. Yep. Thanks, Tiger. You watch it rerun. Yeah, there'll be a little blip in there. I think when I lost my signal and everything just went. All my screens just went blank, and it came back gradually.
I kept resetting, thinking it might have been on my end. But
it wasn't you, because this happened to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it happened just before the show, so it wasn't you. But we'll be back next week. We'll do the last show. Hopefully Arsenal finishes it off strong and we get to see the players. And then soon after that, we know that Sporting will have finished their last game of the season. They're playing the cup final. If they win that, it'd be good for them. And I think it'd be good for Bucharest if he is going to come, to just say sayonara and adios, or whatever they say. I don't know. I don't even know how to speak Portuguese, but he's Swedish, so who knows what he says there. But bye, and hopefully he's coming to Arsenal if that's what Arsenal decides to do. We shall see. Rosie, I guess, was probably listening to us meanwhile watching other shows and stuff. Thanks for joining us, Rosie. But we're going to get out of here now. Tony?
Bye.
Bye. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
Life is a journey, but wait,